About 3 holes in, his ankle socks were slipping down, he was getting blisters on his feet. It was proper not glamorous. Who do you think would make the best YouTuber? Bryson's beating me.
Is it done yet?
And he's won a bloody major.
Next match, I'll come and caddy.
Please do, please do.
And you'll get battered. Right, we've got a special treat this afternoon, lads. I mean, we've had some cranks on this show, haven't we? I mean, we've had like, Sir Ian Botham and Laura Davis and Piers Morgan, but now we've got a real star with us.
Yeah.
And we're going to learn off the great Rick Shiels. Thanks for coming, Rick.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Honestly, this is a pleasure.
Great to have you.
This is a real pleasure. When
Now you're talking.
When you dropped me a text and say, would you like to come on the podcast? I was like, absolutely. Because to spend time with you guys, it's going to be amazing.
You won't be saying that in half an hour.
I know, that's true, that's
God, get me
true.
out of here.
We had the other lads in earlier, the caddy
I
club.
believe so, yeah.
Who have done something with you. So
I
we
can't wait
tied
to
in.
watch that episode.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Well,
Those boys have done
Done a
really
great job
well.
there. It's surprised us how good it is.
Tell us about your career from being pro golfer to being a YouTuber.
Oh, it's been a wild journey. It really has. None of it has been planned. It's all a bit fortunate. So I started. I won't go back too far, but I started playing golf as I was young, and every young teenager I thought I was going to be the next Tiger Woods, and I soon realised I wasn't anywhere near good enough, which was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. In truth, realising that I can't play at such a level was a real eye opener to me. So I really wanted to get into coaching. I always loved being able to help others. And just saying to before, I used to be an assistant pro at Mia in Knutsford, really beautiful golf course. And in fact, I used to teach Kenny Conboy's son.
Floating golf balls at me, is it
Floating
still?
golf balls. I used to go out on the boat and pick them up.
Did you?
And it was at that moment I thought, I think there's something better in life than going around in a boat picking up golf balls, looking at all the massive mansions on the other side of the golf course, thinking,
I'd like to be in one of those.
Yeah, this can't be it, can it?
Do you on the street over the other side of that lake now?
Yeah, I've got the whole wink. But yeah, I loved my time at Mere, and I met some wonderful people. I really did. I really enjoyed it. It was at the time where kind of Chubby Chandler still had a bit of a loose connection there. We saw a lot of the guys coming over, like Brandon Grace and Charles Swartzel, all those guys coming over and practicing there, and I just loved spending time. And I ended up moving to Trafford Golf Centre, which is a big driving range in Manchester.
Driving range there.
Yeah, because I wanted to really kind of further my coaching career. I loved coaching. I was like, well, I can't coach at Mere with floating golf balls for the rest of my life. So I decided to go and take the jump to Trafford, and I noticed a couple of things. I was the 4th pro coming into the teaching academy, and I was at the time when I first started, I was the quietest golf professional. I had time in my diary, and I didn't like it. I wanted to buy that house at Mere that I've got my eye on. Yeah. So I thought, well, how do I promote myself? I was 25 at the time. How do I promote myself? Because let's be honest, all the famous golf coaches teach professional players, don't they? Yeah. Really, to get recognised as a teaching professional, you've got to be a Pete Cowan, or you've got to have some credibility of who you coach. And again, I was 25 and didn't really have that. So I tried to reach out to all the golf magazines to see if I could get featured, and basically got a hard no from every single one of them. I was like, okay, that didn't work. I was like, well, what about if I tried to do it myself? And I've always been a huge fan of social media. From when Twitter first launched, even before that, when MySpace first came out, I was all over MySpace, all over Twitter, all over Instagram. I remember Poulter being all over Twitter when it first came out.
Addicted.
He was the king of that.
To it.
And you look and I remember people saying to me, "Why are you getting into this?" And at the time, I had no idea, because it was addictive.
So it weren't a plan.
It was addictive, and I was never off it. And I used to use this trick. At the time on Twitter, you could go onto a profile and you could see who'd messaged that profile. And Hank Haney was a really big tweeter at the time. Yeah. And he used to get a lot of people asking for swing advice from Hank Haney. So I would go on there, and most of the time, Hank might respond to 1 in 100 people, maybe even 1 in 500 people. So there's 400 odd people that weren't getting a response. So I was like, okay, well, I'll try and get in here a little bit. Yeah. So I'd tweet and I'd use a hashtag, if you don't get answered. And basically I'd give some advice, unsolicited advice, granted, but I was a PGA pro. I'd, gone through my qualifications. I was like, I think you should work on this and this, that, and the other. And I started to gain a little bit of traction on social media because of that. Started to follow that person who I'd give swing advice to. They'd follow me. And then before I knew it, they were not only tweeting Hank Haney, but they were also tweeting me, getting advice off me. And I was like, oh, this is quite fun. Making no money off this at the moment. Didn't understand how I'd make money from it, but just loving it. Just wanting to help people get better.
Basically, you're just a blagger, aren't you?
Yeah. Aren't we all?
To the club.
There's 4 of us here, let me tell you. We've all blagged it.
Aren't we all? So yeah, I just loved doing that. And then when I was at Trafford, I was like, right, well, let's use a bit of this social media understanding. And I've always loved YouTube. Like, YouTube for me has been such an amazing platform. Just from being, going back to when it first came out, probably 15, 16 years ago, and just watching pandas sneezing at a zoo, which was like this viral video back in the day, and that little kid bit his brother's finger and all this, Charlie bit my finger. So I've always just loved it. And I thought, well, I wonder if there's a way of being able to create content. Instead of being in golf magazines, could I maybe be in videos? And I had no expertise. I didn't have any fancy cameras, that's for sure. I didn't have a Scooby-Doo about what to do with any of the equipment. But I thought, let's give it a go. So I just set up my iPad, made some horrendous videos. Like, they are honestly so bad. So like static. Hi, I am Rick Shiels. Like almost needing to read my name. So I went through that, and then kind of got a bit more natural with it, and then started to post the videos online. And as they say, 12 years later, the rest is history. But that's the kind of the brief story to get to actually uploading videos. And it was all to get people through the door. And considering I was the least popular, the least busy pro at the time, I became the busiest golf professional at the driving range within a matter of a few months, which I was like, okay, that's why I did Twitter. That's why I did all of that, because I've now got a nice busy diary.
So how long did you stay at Trafford before I guess you've left Trafford?
Yeah.
So you were there, what, a couple of years maybe?
Yeah, I loved my time at Trafford again, because it was just a hive of activity. Yeah. It was different to Mia, definitely. Yeah. I didn't have to go out on a boat to pick the balls up. But it was exciting. I loved seeing people go to the driving range and practice and want to get better.
Did you go skiing 100 yards behind you? That's a place.
Plenty of golf balls hit the ski slope, I'll tell you that. I had this idea once for this viral video where I was going to stand on top of the ski slope and hit shots down onto the range. But yeah, health and safety got in the way. I know, it would have been great.
Do you do any teaching now?
I don't, unfortunately, no. So I taught all the way to lockdown. So in lockdown, I taught up. I was still teaching up until lockdown. It was at that point YouTube was already pretty much taking over with how much time I had. But I was still keeping a couple of days a week spare for coaching. And then when lockdown kicked in, I kind of reevaluated that. I was like, well, I've got a young family. Can I really now sacrifice, I was probably doing 4 or 5 days YouTube, then a couple of days coaching. So that's kind of your 7 days, you're done. Yeah. I was like, I want to spend time with family. I want my weekends off. So unfortunately, the thing that had to take the hit was the coaching. But every opportunity I get now to coach, even if it's my own kids, I love it. I really, really enjoy coaching. It's a real passion of mine. And it's one of the reasons why I still love releasing coaching videos and seeing the comments and people improving. I suppose it's similar to you guys. I bet you've had enough people you've helped in pro-ams and even obviously tour professionals that you've helped. Like, there's nothing more satisfying in my opinion.
Absolutely. No, yeah.
I haven't played for years really now, Rick, and I'm shit now. And there's a screen there. After we finish, can you give me 10 minutes? See if you can get me to 18 handicap again.
So it's been a wild journey, and I've made 2,500 YouTube videos now, and I'm a little bit more comfortable on video, and I don't have to read my name off a script as much, and I just life has, thankfully, it was never planned, but it's worked out really nicely.
So the one that I've seen most of, and how did this idea come about? Where, obviously you're a good player. Are you still a pro, or have you got a handicap back?
Technically, I'm still a PGA pro, yeah. So, but I turned pro off like 3 handicap.
So if you had a handicap, that'd probably be about what it is, something like that.
1, 2 or 3.
1, 2, 3. Right. So good player. So you've obviously come up with this idea of, and I don't know how you got it started, but you're going to start at 10 under par and try and beat touring professionals. Yeah. I came along to Woburn to watch the one with Poulter, and I thought you should have beat him, but a couple of stupid up and downs from him You know, that's not unlike him. That was expected. But when you, I guess I've got a few questions. One, how did you come up with that idea? And then two, I bet you thought you were going to beat. Oh, because I would. You think you're going to beat them?
First off, I obviously let them win. Don't tell Fultz that. No, so we're obviously always looking at what's the next content strand, and often we'll get time with professionals, and certainly as kind of YouTube was in its infancy, you'd get a few like what's in the bag opportunities, or you'd get a sit down interview, but often you'd only get 10 or 15 minutes with a pro. You know, they're busy, aren't they? They're busy. You know, you'll see them at tournaments, and they don't want to be doing loads of media, and they don't. I don't think all of them love it, do they? Really. No.
And if you want their time for a day to play 18 holes of golf, it's going to cost a lot of money.
A lot. Thankfully, we've not had to. But so we, where did it very first started with Tommy Fleetwood.
Right.
So JCB, a club that I've kind of played a lot of times, done a lot of filming there. They wanted to honour Tommy with a honorary membership, and in return for his honorary membership, would he do a day of media? And Tommy said, "Yeah, of course." And I've known Tommy from kind of just being in the industry, etc. And the idea came from, well, can you spend a day with Rick? And Tommy was like, "Yeah, I'd love to. You know, that'd be great." So then it was passed on to us. You've got a day with Tommy at JCB, and we were like, "Bloody hell, we got a day with Tommy at JCB! Like, this has never happened before. This is like wild."
Yeah.
I'll come on to a really interesting story in a minute about Sam Horsfield though. So that's a great video, one of our best ever.
Really?
So we had this day with Tommy Fleetwood, and we were scratching our brains about what to do, and do we have a match, and how is it fair, and we were really just scratching our brains for ages. And Guy, who works with me, I've got a brilliant team, but Guy, who comes up with a lot of the video content ideas, said, what about if it was 18-hole stroke play off the back tees, make it as hard as you possibly can, and JCB's hard, like it's 7,400 yards off the back tees with those crazy undulating greens. Why don't we start with you having a handicap? It's like, okay, that sounds great. Like, what's the number? Well, let's be honest, Tommy's probably off 4 or 5, plus 4 or 5 into, you're probably off 3 or 4 off the back tees. I think 10 would be quite a good number. So I was just going to have a 10 handicap. And it's like, well, what about if we flipped it and made it more exciting? You actually had a 10-shot head start.
Great idea, by the way, yeah.
Because it's a bit more of a storytelling piece.
And we get to see you slowly crumble.
Correct. and I often do. But I tell you what, it's a weird psyche.
Yeah.
Starting 10 under par.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys would have had it with your...
Like Tour Championship, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like having that uncomfortable lead at a tournament. Players hate it, don't they? They'd
yeah.
6-shot lead.
6-shot league until last round. It's
all I can do is
when I
blow
throw
it
up.
now.
Yeah.
You know.
The amount of times I've doubled or tripled the first couple of holes, it's ridiculous. Because you almost think, it doesn't really matter. A double's not going to do me much harm. Yeah. But if you make a double and they make a birdie, straight away, 3 of you, 10 have gone. Yeah. So we had this day with Tommy. The video did absolutely fantastic. It went all the way down to the last hole. And it was a December, it was a bit of a horrible day. Tommy literally didn't bring his caddy. He just had a carry bag. And we just slugged it round and just had a whale of a time. In fact, the first time we were supposed to film it, we got snowed off. And I thought, it's never going to happen again. And Tommy said, I can do that next week. And we were like, damn, really? And he said, yeah. And I thought, we'll see it when it happens. And he was very true to his word.
He's a good lad, isn't he, Tommy?
He turned up the week after.
Tommy is the best.
He turned up the week after, and we got a great podcast episode. We actually filmed the podcast episode when the snowy day, and then he came back for the match the next time. And it was just great, and I really enjoyed it. So then we had a case study, and that video did unbelievable. I think it got 1 million views in the first day. I think it's up to about 5 or 6 million views now, and I was like, we're onto something here. Like, this is great. So it was like, well, how can we continue to roll this out? So then we started to approach professionals, maybe ones that are new. And, we wanted, with all due respect, we wanted like charismatic professionals, guys who were great on camera and also who wanted to do it. So like I did it with Westwood. That was one of the early ones I did it. Obviously Poulter last year, that's had 4 million views, the Poulter one. I've done it with Bryson DeChambeau. I've done it with Sergio Gatt. I've played awful. I forget that one because I played so bad. I played so bad, it was embarrassing. Sergio, God, why's my brain gone blank? Adam Scott, Rickie Fowler. I did Rickie Fowler at medalist.
Oh, nice.
Jeez, that's a course. Yeah.
You've picked one there.
Jesus
There's
Christ.
some false carries there.
I think I'd lost all 10 shots on the front 9 and then clung on for dear life on the back 9. But pretty much every single one of them, bar the Sergio one, I got battered. Every one of them's gone to the last hole.
That's what I was about to say. I've watched a lot of them. Certainly all the ones you've just mentioned. And I came with Ian to do the one you did at Woburn. And yeah, I guess they're supposed to go near the finish because with a decent player with a 10-shot start, you know you're going to get to, like you say, you know there's still going to be excitement around 15, 16. But it's amazing how close they've all gone.
On paper, I should win every single one. On paper.
So.
But it's bloody, they're intimidating.
Yeah.
They're really intimidating.
We're talking stroke play, aren't we?
Stroke play, 18 hole
starts at 10
stroke
under
play.
par.
I know, but still,
They just play.
these guys are so good. I mean,
I was just going to say, that's when you realise how good these guys actually are.
They'd never make a mistake. They're often 3 or 4 or 5 under par without even breaking a sweat. So that means that off the back tees a lot of this place, like going try and shoot a 77 around medalist. I mean, it's like shooting a 68 around the course around here.
You know, they lost a lot of members there because those false carries, they couldn't get it over there.
I'm sure the first hole was 270 carry off the first tee. And my buddy, I'm playing with Rickie Fowler, and like these guys are guys who I've adored and grown up like loving, and these are heroes of mine.
So you're under a bit of pressure as well.
Definitely.
You don't want to perform.
Of course I do. And you know what? I mean, Tommy's probably the one I've been the most relaxed with because he is that kind of persona.
He's your lad next door, isn't he?
But trying to team up with Westwood at close house and he's chirping. Trying to team up with Buddy Poulter at Woburn and he's chirping. It's like, it's really
You know
difficult.
what I noticed watching them though? Because they don't hit all perfect shots, but I've watched a few of them. But when Ian come and did the one at Woburn, I remember he hit a terrible shot, tried to go through a gap in the tree, hit the tree, kicked out there. But then they go get it up and down the par, don't they?
Yeah.
Which is what your average player, they just keep up and down, mistake, par, good shot, birdie. Thank you.
And I think they love this idea that they're trying to catch me.
Yeah.
Like, I think they love this idea. And so then our strategy then is obviously we've got these case studies. You know, again, every single one of them has at least had 1.5 million views. Then we can start to go, well, what about if we approached whoever, Scotty Scheffler, John Rahm, you know, what about if we approached Cam Smith? So like, I think now it's starting to get to that point where we've got enough case study and there's enough value for the player. As much as we're not paying them cash, there's enough value for that player to go, you know what? Yeah, we understand the value of X amount of views on YouTube and what it can do for our brand. And typically, like, I'll give them an opportunity if they've got something to plug. You know, if they're bringing out a clothing line or an app or have got a new sponsor, plug it, go ahead, because that's only fair that you plug it on the video. And it's just, it's been a really great experience. I've really enjoyed it. And hopefully we're going to do many more next year as well. But I'll win one. One day I'll win one.
I thought you had one.
No.
Haven't you?
No, I know. Every single one's gone
earlier,
out.
I'll tell you what, in return, right, at your next match or one of your matches, we'll come and caddy for you.
Please do,
How's that?
please do.
And you'll get battered.
I know. You'll both be in my ear.